Alright, I'll give a brief introduction. This is William Whurley, or better known as Whurley, W-H-U-R-L-E-Y. That is his personal brand. He is Whurley everywhere. Whurley is Whurley. He has like 11 patents, master IBM, inventor, I don't know what he's called. He is an open source guru. He open source consortium is with that. He is now with BMC Software and is doing some very interesting work, bridging the gap between proprietary software for enterprise and open source. That may be a little too geeky for a lot of people to understand, but he may explain that a little bit better. But it's big hoop-de-doo in technology, I'll put it that way.
I understand that BOA.
Yeah, she understands the BOA, so, and I have no idea what he's going to talk about. He's very unpredictable. He doesn't either. Okay, well, we'll just let you start.
But I am more than the BOA. Hey, who can make the screen work? Chris. Chris broke again. Come on, Chris. Make it work. Doesn't work. Hey, also, I'm actually only going to talk for 5 minutes because I promised Connie I'd wear the BOA all the time, and then everybody else talk for more than 5 minutes, and I don't want to be wearing it that long. It kind of itches the back of my neck, Connie. So, I have a timer here, and here's what we're going to do. I need 5 people that have questions about social media to come and stand right here, right now. 5 of you. 5 of you now. Yeah, don't bum rush the stage or anything, guys. There are not 5 questions left. Connie, you answered all of the questions. You got nothing. Yeah. Thanks, Chris Brogan. Look at that, it works now. All right, awesome. So, we're one, well wait, do you have 5 questions? She'll make you 5 questions, that's awesome. The rest of you people suck. But hang on. So here's the deal. So, I didn't know we were gonna have slides, and then everybody else had slides, and they're like, well, we just made them because we're all badass social media professionals. So, I made some too, and it's called Soylent Green is People. And so social media. And then it says, people like Brian Valendorf, who I stole this title from, but don't let him know because he doesn't talk to me anymore. And then, I thought about it, I said, nah, go ahead and tell him because Chris Brogan's my new best friend anyway. And, Brian's always too busy for me. So, what kind of people? Well, people like these crazy guys that were at Bar Camp Austin this year. And then people like these ladies. And, tons of people. These are faces of social media. Whoops, I was not supposed to be in there. Sorry about that. And then this is my next slide, which you guys are all supposed to help with, but again, you're not, which says enter text here. It's great, because this is part of the presentation where I put your 5 questions in here, and then I hit the timer, and then we answer them all in 5 minutes. But since none of you have questions at all, you just go out here to hang out or whatever, we're going to get your question.
So everybody keeps talking about social media in business, but it seems like I think more B2C. I work for a marketing company that's B2B. So how?
I'm sorry, I don't take questions from marketing.
I work for a marketing company, so I'm an HR manager.
Even worse.
So show us how to use social marketing effectively to reach our community.
That is an awesome question. In fact, we can do that right now. Because I just got a voicemail 5 minutes before. I'm going to go ahead and start on that. From a young man named Tyler Balance. How many people know who Tyler Balance is? Tyler, so let's answer that for you. Let's see what Tyler has to say about that question.
Hey, Whurley, I had a neighbor don't ever acquire one. You can find out my profile on Facebook. But then he demonstrated it is in fact Sunday. But I want to get as many users as possible for that most things ready, right? And I figured you would be a good guy to talk to since you have so many friends. I'm on my way to the street to go down to Sunnyvale, and I'll be available the rest of the night. So congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, so for those of you who couldn't hear it, Tyler works for a company called Slide, and he made a Facebook application. He put it out on Facebook and had 15 million users within 24 hours. And so, how do you do it? To answer your question, you have to know somebody with lists like Chris and people that you can use that might spread the word for you. Which brings in a question, which is social media corruptible, right? Can you buy a post from Chris or me or Laura or somebody? But so Tyler basically just called and said, hey, I'm going to be at a conference, I'm going to launch a new app, and so maybe you could tell everybody you know about it. And it's pretty much that simple. But that's okay. Maybe we should ask Tyler, see if we can. We'll ask him.
Are you phoning a friend?
Huh? Oh, I'm phoning a friend. It's like whatever that show was with the old guy. Hey man, you're on speakerphone at a conference. Well, no, you called me and asked me for a favor social media-wise. I'm actually speaking about social media. I have the iPhone speaker held up to the mic right now. So somebody asked a question, Tyler, I want you to answer it. They said, hey, if you're a company, how do you get the message out? How do you use social media to your advantage? And I just heard your voicemail before I came on. It sounded like what you were doing was exactly that. Like you have a new app you said you're going to launch on Facebook? Do what? I said you have a new app you're going to launch on Facebook?
Yeah, it's already up there.
So why did you call me?
Because you know everybody.
Alright, Tyler, we won't hold you up anymore. I'll call you back later, alright? Okay, so that was better. I thought Tyler would ramble about his app for 5 minutes, but that was pretty direct. Why did he call? He called because he has a message. I have a new app that he wants to get out to a bunch of people. And the only way to do that is to go through connectors. How many of you read a book called The Tipping Point? Okay, so guess what Chris Brogan is? Chris, what do you think you are?
I'm a connector.
We practiced that one before. Chris, big hand for Chris Brogan, everybody. Come on. Excellent. Chris, think about it. Laura thought he was going to screw it up. Laura, I'm sorry. I thought he was going to screw it up. He said he'd do it, and I owe 10 bucks. So there's no other questions about social media. You see, do you have a question? Come here. See, because we're always hanging out, so I don't know if he's just hanging out if he has a question.
Let's assume that I'm a social person and I'm very outgoing, but I have no idea where to start with social media. It kind of freaks me out. Where is a good place?
So that's great. I would start everywhere that you can be. And what I mean by that is not John's thing, which is be everywhere your customers can be and expect you to be in his book, which is awesome. But I mean be everywhere. So let me tell you what I did. I'm suck at blogging, and also I really don't like social media websites. I come from the open source community, which means I get 10,000 mails a month from people who are like, hey, remember that software you kind of were associated with 5 years ago that nobody uses anymore? It doesn't work for our corporation in Japan. Could you fix it for us? So it's totally different. So the social media thing came along, and I was telling Connie, social media kind of is like open source in a way, right? I mean, it's a bunch of things mixed together. So what I did is I got a bunch of application code, and I mashed it together, and you can do this actually with some of it with Google Mashups from what I understand now. And all social media sites that you guys contact me on, and it writes you back and it says, hey, thanks for having me, I added you back, how's life? You're not actually talking to me. So all of those are completely automated. In fact, Laura asked earlier, she was like, how do you add those people? Because you're not actually adding them. But what happens there? What happens there is the problem with social media when you do that, when you go everybody, go find out where your friends are, start with them, find out where their friends are, find out where people you want to talk to are, join all of it that you can. The first problem you run into is how do you manage all of that? Right? What I decided to do was I have a policy. When somebody sends me an invitation to a new social media site, my script, that's my 5 minutes, my script says, do you want to add everyone or no one? And I check one of the boxes, and then I hit respond in the email. And what happens is, if it's MySpace, then I don't add you. Because, I get really heartbroken with all of those girls who are like, hey, if I know MySpace, I would like to send you pictures and talk to you on the phone. Just respond with your email address and credit card. And it never works out. It's a really bad But anyway, I don't have anybody there. On Facebook, I had everyone. Okay, on Twitter, I had everyone. On Twitter, I do it differently though. On Twitter, the API allows me to add you, and then if you delete me later, then I delete you back. Because screw you, I don't want to be a friend anyway. And so basically, the problem isn't where do you start. There's a million places to start. The problem is once you start and you get on all these sites, how do you manage it? Right? For someone like me, it's a little different. I wrote some code, it goes through all of the Twitter feed all day, and it looks for keywords, it looks for open source, it looks for Microsoft, it looks for, you know, Chris and Laura, John and Connie, whatever. And when it sees those, or it sees a direct message, then it sends it to my phone. Then it does something. So there's 888 people following me on Twitter. God knows why. I don't even Twitter that much. But when they're Twittering all this stuff, sometimes I hear about a new app. I hear about a new project. I hear about some breaking news, something that might be worthy, you know, for blogging, which, again, I suck at. So I need all the help I can get. So when those come through, then I've kind of filtered that information down. The problem with social media is information overload. The standard person, you know, can't handle all the Facebook requests for, you know, Tyler's app, and then, you know, I met this one lady at the Halo release party, and she has sent me 35 like similarity tests or whatever they are. One person. So in the inbox, there's like 35 things from her that's like, do you like animals? You know, do you like furry animals? It's a completely separate test. I don't know. So I just sent her a mail and I said, I'm not really sure where this is going, so maybe we should chat anymore. Link it on Facebook. But, you know, the problem isn't where do you start. You can start anywhere. How do you start? You can go to the library, create an account on the computer. This is all really, really easy. The problem comes into what Chris and Lauren and John and Connie have all touched on, which is it isn't participating in social media, it's how you participate, right? In open source, everybody thinks it's just about the code, and I always say it's not about the code, it's about the community. And the community is Soylent Green, it's people. So you need to understand people. It's the same, it's a digital way to, go ahead, you have a second question.
I get that part, but what if somebody is like kind of
computer illiterate?
Not necessarily computer illiterate, but kind of scared of the whole process.
Well, that's a good point.
Like, how do you get them motivated about it to get them?
You can't give up. Everybody always asks me that about open source projects. I went to work for a company a few years ago, and the CEO was like, "We're going to open source the code," and I was like, "That's great," and we did. We put it out on the interweb, as he called it, and you know what happened? We had 3 developers kind of download the code and interested. He was like, "Where are the thousands of people? Where are the millions of developers that are going to make our company successful?" And it doesn't work that way. The problem in open source can be carried over in social media. The problem in open source is simple. There's a finite amount of people who develop the code. How many of you know what the Apache web server is? Anybody? I know it's a different audience, so a few of you. Basically, if you go to visit a website, 78% of the time it's powered by a web server called Apache. Everybody always says, well, there's millions of developers on Apache. No, there's not. There's like 20 guys who can actually commit changes to the code. There's a larger community who feed back information about, we found a bug, we found this and that. And then there's a whole community of users. And those users don't participate. And people are always asking me when I go around and speak, how do we get developers engaged? Same question, different audience. How do you get people motivated? How do you get them to give a crap about anything you're doing? Because what you're really asking them to do is to volunteer their own time to do something else that you want them to do, right? So with open source, with social media, it's the same thing. I can tell you right now that, I'll show you right now, this is great. I'm the best example of this. Because how many of you know what I did? I make the little computer books with the little animals on them. Check this out. I just started that blog this week, it sucks. Yeah, God/God, I got 1,000 mails, whoops, about, you know, really, is that it? Oops, sorry, I can't type. Or spell, it's horrible. Okay, let's see. That used to go there, that doesn't go there. Here we go. Let's see, that's the feed. This is a blog post, and somewhere on here, there is, I guess what we should do is this. What's on Google? There, yeah, that's my blog. No, if we go here, and we put Whurley in, because you ask, how do you motivate people? This is awesome. You can't motivate people who don't want to do it. Case in point, 4 years ago, O'Reilly made this blog for me on their website, okay? And it's awesome that they've updated the information every time I change a job. And they said, we like you to blog. It's good, you can promote a book. And it's good, you can do this. And then 6 months went by and I hadn't read a blog. And Brian Jefferson called me and said, hey, you're not blogging, why not? It's good, you should try that. I said, well, I don't know, I'm not really motivated to. How can we motivate you? He said, we'll pay you. Every time you blog, we'll pay you money. Okay, still not blogging. I'm not motivated to do it. I don't care. If you're not doing it on your own, you're never going to do it. And don't do it if you think you're going to get rich and famous or whatever. Only Chris and Laura can do that. Connie and I are getting screwed here. Okay. So let's see how many times I've blogged in 4 years. Oh, that's amazing. Check it out. That's a total listing of all of the blogs. Money, bribes, women, cocaine. It didn't matter what they offered. I never wrote a blog. Why? Because I'm not motivated. If you can't motivate people to get involved in open source or social media if they don't already want to be involved. Now, if they want to be involved and they don't have the skill, you can teach them. If they want to be involved and they don't have the access to people, you can introduce them, you can network them. But if they don't want to do it, you can't take somebody and make them do it. And the biggest lesson comes back to our first question about corporations. Even though now she's typing what I'm saying and she's ignoring. Yeah, we're talking about you. So, but it comes back to her question, how do you get corporations to do it? Okay, well, you have to show them success. And you know whose success you have to show them? Competitors. Because otherwise it doesn't matter. You have to be able to somehow show them that success, and that'll get you started. That's what BMC did. A lady named Juanita Magnum did Talk BMC, and she did this as a Skunkworks project. So she basically created a blog for BMC, and she's doing podcasts and all kind of great stuff. So she went out with another person that worked at BMC, and they bought the server themselves. This is the 8th largest software company in the world. And they originally started this as a Skunkworks project, then they got the company convinced. Now it's successful, it's been around for a little bit, what does the company want to know? How does this affect sales? How does it come into the process? How does this work as an extension of our marketing arm? Can you show us the numbers on the blogs and you read them and they came and spent money? You can't? Ooh, how much money did you need for next year? Maybe we should put that back a little bit. Because the problem with companies and motivating them and getting companies involved is they don't understand the ramifications of not doing it. They want to do it and see an effect on the bottom line. The reality is, if they don't do it, then the competitor can do it and build a channel that they don't have. And over time, it will affect the bottom line in a much more dramatic way. Does that sort of answer your question? That's no motivation right there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think you might. I'm not really coming at it from a developer standpoint. I'm coming at it from like a person-to-person standpoint. Like, say I know somebody that I think would benefit from being involved in social media.
That's it.
Right.
They thought it was mutually beneficial.
Right. Except, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's not really. Yes, you answered my question.
No, but I mean,
like some people I know people who are like interested, but I'm not really able to tell them other than, oh, you should be on Twitter. It's awesome.
Oh.
You know, I mean, how do I'm just asking for maybe some the dreaded bullet points that.
That's okay. You should give them your top 3 or 5 sites that you use. You should tell them your username. You should have them connect to you. You should start there, and then you can have them connect to your friends, and so on and so forth. Right? Sorry for misunderstanding the question. But the question of motivation is really good, because if you go to Opensville, right? I didn't blog at O'Reilly for 4 years. At Opensville, I'm blogging all the time. Why? Is because when I went to get the job, the MC said, oh, by the way, we pay you now, so you're going to blog. And it was, and there's the motivation. I like getting paid, and eating also is nice. Every once in a while, sleep works into the picture. But, you know, what's the dramatic difference there? It's because that's my daily bread. When I had daily bread, I probably wanted me to do it. Why do I want to go home and blog? Chris, Laura, John, Connie, these people do this not because they have some giant ego. They do it because they're passionate about it and they love it. They're delivering free content to you and free information because they care about community. They want to build more community. They're kind of the odd men and the women out, right? At the end of the day, not everybody cares that much. And when you get people who are interested, you have to ask them why they're interested. Are you trying to make money? If you are, then, you know, that's plenty of us will sell you consulting, and we can make money showing you how you might be able to make money. I'm just kidding, I don't do consulting. But if you're doing it for like friends or whatever, like Facebook, why is Facebook so popular? Guys, if Facebook was used for college kids to hook up and have sex, that's kids. Why are there 50 million college kids on Facebook? Because of sex. It's that simple. Alright? So are they doing it for money? Are they doing it for personal reasons? Do they have a message? Right? I have a guy that approached me, his name is Father Gregory. Father Gregory wants to get his message out, he wants to start a blog. That's awesome. He's got content, writes homilies and stuff for every Sunday. He's got a giant potential group of users. He's got everything he needs to make that successful. Okay, so that's somebody maybe you can help out a little bit. People who just want to get into it, starts with you. Connect, have them connect to you, have them connect to your friends, find what friends you have, in common, and eventually that's how you go from 10 people on Twitter to 100 people to 300 people to whatever. But it's really no different than socializing normally. So we had 3 questions, that was it.
No.
Now we have 5 questions. No. You, fight! Only one of you gets to ask a question.
Okay, so we've kind of spoken from the side of people writing a blog and getting interested. What should I expect out of blogging? What am I looking for in social networking? Is it general awareness? Am I trying to generate demand generation? People understanding who we are? Am I going to get any action to purchase what we have to sell? How far is this going to go down? And that's question one. Second one is I'd like to understand what my media mix would be. How much of this would I, mix with all the other things we're trying to do as a business to generate these.
Are you a small business?
Small, yeah.
Okay, if you're a small business, let me answer the second question first. You should do everything through social media because all the other stuff costs you way too much money for the results you get. Alright? It's too easy. You can go to Blogger like right now and we can start a blog with that. Would you like to start a blog? Do you have one? Do you have a blog?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Is it online right now?
It is.
Okay, you already have one?
Yes.
Okay, well then we can't start one. That was going to be cool, Chris. Sorry. Does anybody not have a blog? Anybody not have a blog in this room? Well, how do you measure it is the question, right? So there's all these different measurement tools, and people like to poke holes in them. How many people know what Alexa is? Right? So Alexa tells you reach, and everybody will tell you Alexa is complete crap. Those numbers are pulled out of their rear. But the fact is that doesn't matter if you're using that tool to measure it. There's a difference between precision and accuracy. How many people know the whole dartboard example, right? If I'm up here on stage and I throw a dart at the dartboard and I hit the bullseye, that's accuracy. But if I hit you in the forehead 20 times out of 20 times, that, my friend, is precision. And so the difference, the deal with Alexa is that it doesn't matter that all the sites are being measured inaccurately. It matters that the same ruler is being used to measure all sites, right? So you can take tools like that. You can put Google Analytics on your blog. But what you're asking is a little bit different. We spent money with the idea of getting people to come spend money with us. How can we directly relate that? And that's kind of standard advertising. How does Bed Bath & Beyond rate how, when they send a mailer out to a neighborhood by zip code, successful it was? They put a coupon in it for 20% off. And they know everybody that came with that coupon probably got it from the mailer. And they can look at that and they can build metrics and say, hey, we should do more mailers because 20% off gets people in the store, right? I mean, it still doesn't matter what the medium is, you have to have a message. I guess that's the point. And how do you measure that message? Well, you measure it the same way you do all the other forms. Now, another funny thing is that at BMC, it was pretty funny because you get questions of audience. So I did a blog post and I got an ungodly amount of coverage right off the bat. So I think it was like 150,000 people come and visited, and everybody in BMC marketing was like, we're blogging everything. Like, this is it. And I was like, well, that's never even happened to me before, so I wouldn't be counting on that again. But they answered a really interesting question. They didn't say, how can we tell how much revenue this generated? They didn't say that. They said, hey, who are these people? And that was tough to answer, right? I went to Google Analytics and I was like, well, there's a lot of people in China. Do we have a lot of customers in China? And like, well, we have some, but and so there's a question of, what's your message? How are you getting it out? You know how to measure it, but the results that you're measuring, that's also who are you trying to get it out to? That should be the first thing you measure. It's really interesting to think about where BMC has come with blogging. When Nima started it as a Skunkworks project, now it's a major marketing initiative. We made the largest open source related announcement of any enterprise software company ever a couple months ago. And so I had done this project, come up with a licensing policy and all this stuff, and I went to the PR people and said, okay, great, you guys build PR campaigns, so what are we gonna do? And I kid you not, in a room of 12 people, the main guy looked at me and goes, well, I kind of thought you were gonna put that on your blog. I was like, well, but what are you gonna do? And they were like, you're gonna support your blog? I was like, how? So, and they're like, well, we can edit it for you before you put it up there if you want. That kind of defeats the purpose. So, our last major release, which got covered by 12 or 1,300 news agencies, Wired had it, everything, you know, it's ridiculous as far as how successful it was for the hour it took to get the blogging software to actually put the damn blog up there. You know, how do you measure those results, right? You know, well, they measure the results by how many times did it get mentioned in the press. If it's an announcement like that, that's a good way. Right, how do they measure the results afterwards? What do people thought about it? Well, they looked at reporter commentary, they looked at other stuff. You know, it's a very mixed bag. I mean, I don't think anybody has a standard answer, and if they do, I wouldn't believe them. Because, you know, I know that right now, I started a new blog on Monday, and it's had like a jillion, tens of thousands of visitors, and I don't know who any of them are or where they're from, but I don't have anything to market from them. And I'm blogging about skateboards, and open source, and gravity biking, and you know, Austin, and Blogtoberfest, and all kind of random stuff. So you can't be like, oh, the people who subscribed, you know, that means subscribers, people say measure that as a measure of success. I don't believe that, right? I've got FeedBurner on my blog at Talk BMC. 150,000 visitors a month, I have like 90 subscribers, right? But they all come back and read somehow. So it's like, maybe they're just not using RSS feeders. So, you know, I think as a small business, you should drop normal media campaigns, you shouldn't take an ad out of the paper, depending on what your market is. But if your market has access to the internet, then you should do everything in social media. You should go get John's book, you should talk to Chris, Connie, Laura, and you can make a lot of stuff happen for a much smaller investment. How do you measure it? Very difficult question. You know, I give you a couple of kind of rambling answers to that, but it's a very difficult question. You had a question, though.
No, I've got one real quick. Tell us about your new skateboard line.
It's awesome. So I'll throw this in there really short because I feel like I'm pimping it, but I basically ride a skateboard at all the conferences I go to because I like public transportation. And, wait, it should be here. There it is. And so basically the problem is I have this really long board, it's 59 inches, and it doesn't fit on the airplane, and every time you're going through the airport, the security guys will stop you and be like, hey, you're not going to ride that in there. Like, I got 2 minutes to catch my plane. Like, you better listen to me. So it makes it difficult. So finally I got a big ski bag for it, and I took it on the plane. Problem is that as big as it is, it's hard if you're in San Francisco or New York to make it through people because it's very long. And a regular skateboard sucks on those streets because there's too many cracks, right? The wheels are too small and they're not soft enough. So I designed this, and it's a schlong board. That's like a short long board that you mix together. And a funny name. And so it's got longboard trucks, they're called Random 180s, up on the lip of the skateboard. And then it's got these tunnel rock wheels, which are downhill racing wheels. And it fits in the overhead of an airplane. And that was pretty much all of the requirements. But then I found another neat trick, which is if you mount it right, then it'll stand up on its own. Which was kind of nice, so you don't have to carry it around with you everywhere. But this guy whose foot was in that picture, you can see there it is in the overhead. It's perfect, and you can see somebody else's luggage is in there too. And you know what's even better is if you put it flat, people can put their luggage on top of it because it's a skateboard. It doesn't matter. But see, we mounted it there. You can see how it's mounted. Now it's mounted different in the new one. The new one's much better. The problem is it's really fast. So I was heading from San Francisco from Sausalito on the ferry, and I I was going down a really steep hill and hit a bike messenger at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. And that didn't really work out so well, and I was late to the conference. And then the people, I won't say that ran the conference, were just like, well, you can't be doing that if you're supposed to come to Superior. And it was kind of weird because that was very awkward. So okay, so there's your answer on the skateboard thing. I think you just didn't think it existed. But you had a real question, not about skateboarding.
No, not about skateboarding. I work for a local ISP that is in Texas, and it's based, its corporate headquarters is here in San Marcos. I was curious how you feel that social media and social networking has really affected how ISPs do their business and how it's affected, I guess, maybe transport of massive amounts of bandwidth on the internet. Because I've read that social media and sites like Facebook, MySpace, they've increased the amount of traffic on the internet in the last like 5 years by a large degree.
Yeah, by a jillion-fold. Yeah. And that's because now any 13-year-old with a camera can go and take 400 horrible pictures of themselves in the mirror that are like 5 megabytes each and upload them for hours. So yeah, actually there's a couple of social media sites now that are, I won't say who they are because I don't think it's disclosed. They're working on a new thing. Some of the sites already limit the size of your pictures and things like that. They're working on a new thing where it says, hey, are you willing to wait to have your pictures loaded because we could do it later at night, and then there's not as many people on the site, and then that way it doesn't slow the site down for everyone else. And so there's people that are trying to work on that. How does it affect it? Again, the same problem I mentioned earlier about social media creating this mass amount of information. And so you go out and you find someone and you introduce them to it, and they go and later they got 1,000 friends. How do you read what 1,000 people have to say? Laura made a great point earlier. We were at dinner and Laura said, did you get my tweet? And then she said, or did it already just go by pages down because there's too many other people putting Twitter stuff out? The same thing for ISPs. It's more and more data and now video, right? And so all this is, who's paying for this? I mean, at the end of the day, somebody has to, right? Google can balance the revenue. How do you do it as a small ISP? It's a lot harder. But people expect the same level of service, right? People's expectation is, well, I can go upload video on YouTube. Why can't I do it with you? Why can't I put it on my homepage? Why can't I put it? Explaining that is very, very difficult. So, I mean, I think it's a huge problem for smaller ISPs. But as you know, the small ISP market, right, it kind of cyclical. Right? It comes up and it goes away and it comes up and it goes away again. It's a very difficult problem. I mean, one thing that you might want to think doing as a small ISP is partnering. Yahoo offers partnerships where you can use their bandwidth and their social media portals, for your customers and kind of co-brand them or rebrand them. So maybe that's good. Maybe kind of offload it, off. By the way, what shirt size are you? And what shirt size are you? How many people in here wear extra large? Chris, did you just raise your hand?
Yes. I want to wear.
Chris, do you have a question?
Excuse me.
Yes, I have a question.
It's not allowed if I want to go out with you again.
I really want to. I think the open source community is it's an interesting parallel to a small town in a way. And San Marcos not being a very small town, but in technology sense.
Are you being the smartest?
Here's what I'm going at. I think people in this room don't know what's going on with other people in this room, and that without spending a lot of effort to get there, I don't think that they're using the right tools to communicate what's going on. How in the social media tool set do you solve the problem of all these people getting to know each other? Is it something like a newsstreams.com? And how did open source solve the getting to know each other? Because strangely, a lot of coders are introverts. I've heard.
Yeah. I'm seeing a counselor about it, Chris. I don't appreciate you bringing it up in public. But, so I thought Chris was being smart aleck because I wrote my first blog post at BMC was called Welcome to Opensville, Population Zero. Because in the open source community you hear about, I've compared it to the analogy of a town. So there's this town of Opensville, and on the east it's bordered by proprietary, that's where they charge you money for software. And on the west it's bordered by Freedomsville, right? And everything's free. And the people in Freedomsville and proprietary, they love Opensville. They love the towns, they love the bars, they love the nightlife, they love the parks, they love all of it. The problem is nobody's actually willing to live in Opensville and pay the taxes to make the town run. Right? They just come into the day for their job and leave, or come in to party at night and leave again. And that's kind of the state of open source. And I think that's also the state of social media. Chris is just trying to distract me so he can hit on my friend. Thanks, Chris. You're not going out with us later, dude, and you're not getting the swag. Well, maybe the swag. Only because I want to take a picture of you, but then we'll give it away to somebody else because it's not stink too bad. So, you know, how does it compare to town? The most important thing you can do with social media, the most important thing you can do with all this is take your online life offline and vice versa. Bar camps. How many of you have heard of a bar camp? There's one here, right? Area, bar camp San Marcos. Bar camps are a great way to take all those people you met through social networking and social media online and meet them offline in a place like this. And that's where you can really build up those reputations with each other. You can find out somebody who didn't really do everything they said they did. Like, I'm not a secret agent. I shouldn't have put that on my blog, but it sounded good at the time. But you know, you can do all of this stuff and meet these people offline and really build up connections. For you, with your small business, that's very important. How could you use social media? Maybe you should start, you know, what does your business do? It's Triple X Magazine what? Okay, he doesn't. Did you say extreme gift throwing? Like you do it while you're bungee jumping or something? Because I think if that's the case, you should put a video on YouTube. You'll be extremely successful. Find the neighbor. So gift wrap. So you know, maybe you should start. I mean, here's a social media idea for you. Every Christmas, you go to Barnes & Noble or somewhere, and there's these little non-profits, okay? And they're gift wrapping stuff for $5 you donate to whatever, right? Say the Chris Brogans. But what you should think about doing maybe is maybe you start a little social media site and you kind of get those groups together and then maybe you use that to help organize them and get them and also / advertise business. Why does Barnes & Noble do it? Do they do it because they love the charities? No, they do it because it's convenient, it keeps customers in the store, and it brings more people in the store who shop at the stores next door, right? I mean, there's obviously an ulterior motive to that. Maybe you could do something similar, use that social media network to get people that are interested in your product together. Then maybe you could have some kind of meetings. I mean, I don't know the gift wrapping world, but in every industry, there's a Chris Brogan. And if you get him to show up, then people come and they listen, and they hear what he has to say. You can go ahead and do that, right? Maybe there's somebody who wrote a book about scrapbooking or something, you know, I don't know, related. Maybe you can use social media, get the people together, have a regular event. Start building community. As you build community, you can build word of mouth brand loyalty. As you do that, when people want to buy products, where are they going to go and buy them? Right? And that works great for you. It sucks if you're in open source because then everybody just wants you to fix stuff and you don't even have anything to do with it, but they just assume that you can do it. If you have a business, you can target it. I know Connie is a great example. Connie and Mike have a business and they help people like you with social media and they're doing this event. And are they doing this event for their business? I don't see any giant banners with their name anywhere on them, right? But they're building community. They're building community around what they do, right? So I know when I had a question about it, I went and asked Connie. She helped me out. You can do the same thing, right? All of these things are about really connecting with people. So online and offline shouldn't matter. And you should take everything online and offline and vice versa. Is there another question? Laura, you had a question? I'm sorry, Laura, I thought you had a question.
I did. What's your phone number?
What's your phone number, Chris? Well, I'm just waiting for somebody to nobody's waving. Connie, would you please come stop this? My neck is itching. Taking it with me. Well, I mean, I thought we all agreed, guys, Chris, John, that we would wear this if we showed up.
I wore it.
Yeah, you did. That's true. I wore Chris. Oh wait, one quick thing. Extra large. Who wears extra large? Okay. Who goes out in public a lot? Who knows what the answer to life, the universe, and everything is? Wait, so you guys all can't answer that, only the extra large people. Which extra large person answered that? Did you? Did you really? Alright, come on up here. So for those who aren't familiar, this company sent me this shirt that they call reality. And basically it tells you to go tell people to follow me on Twitter, and they didn't know that I was large. I mean, I know that I've been working out and stuff, but not really. So I'm gonna get that shirt so that you can wear it extra large. Are you sure extra large? It looks really big. Okay. No, it's cool. As long as you think it'll fit. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Whurley.